Example 3, rewrite the following percent numbers as decimals. Okay, so this is backwards from problem 1, right? Problem 1 changed decimals to percents. Now we're going to change percents to decimals. So I'm going from percent to decimal. First thing I do is I'm going to drop the percent symbol. And number 2, we're going to move the decimal point left 2 spaces. Once again, as we saw with the part C of number 1 that I made up, right? Sometimes the decimal point doesn't exist. Sometimes that happens in these problems too. So 6%, as you can see, has no decimal point in it. So if I'm looking at 6%, step 1 says to drop the percent symbol off, right? Where does the decimal point currently live? If there's 6 and there's no decimal, where would it be in that number, Caden? Where would the decimal point be on the number 6? Okay, where is it currently located before we move it?
What do you mean?
Like the number 6, there's no decimal in the picture, but there's a decimal that lives somewhere in there that we haven't written that's understood. Where is it understood to be? After, right there. Very good. I'll try to ask my questions more directly. And then you were getting ahead of me. All right, so notice I'm supposed to move it 2 spaces left, but I don't have 2 spaces to move it left. So I'm going to put a 0 in front of the 6 to give me a number to move it. So I got to move 1, 2 to the left. That's where it belongs. So 6%, we drop the percent off and we locate the decimal. We slide it to the left, decimal point 0.06. And a lot of people like to put a 0 in front of that. I don't require that, but 0, pens aren't writing very well today. 0.06 is the right answer. 0.06 would also be a correct answer if you wanted to go that route. Okay. If you take a look at part B, it says 0.2%. So part B, 0.2%. So the first thing again I'm going to do is I'm going to put a decimal point, I'm going to put the decimal point 2, the 0.2, without a percent symbol. So I'm going to write down 0.2. And again, I got to move it left 2 spaces, so I'm going to put an extra 0 here to allow me to move. I'm going to show that I'm moving it 2 spaces over, and that's going to get me 0.002 is equivalent to 0.2%.
When we do our homework, do we have to show that?
I would love to see that work every single problem because it shows me that you understand the technique. So when you're doing these problems to get to Journey's question, here's examples 1, 2, and 3. For example 1, maybe you have to stick a 0 on there and move it a couple over. I mean that's pretty straightforward, right? So you got to move a decimal 2 spaces over and put a percent symbol on it. If you had to stick a 0 on it, fine. There's not a lot of work to be shown on these. But again, I want to see 2 decimal places to move. So if there's no decimals, I want to see where you put the decimal point 00. If there's only 1 decimal place, I want to see the extra 0 on your work. Okay. On example 2, I'm looking to see a proportion solved. Create a proportion, solve a proportion. Example 3, I want to see where you drop the decimal off, where you put enough spaces there to move a decimal point, and where you actually move the 2 over. That's what I like to see on those. So make sure you're doing that. It reinforces the technique, so you don't have to memorize the technique. You're just going to know how to do it because you've done it. That's what showing your work accomplishes here. It's not just me trying to give you writer's cramp. That'd be mean. I try not to be mean. I'm being purposeful. All right?